Hey there, this is James Wilson, creator of the Catalyst Pedal, and today I'm going to answer a pretty frequently asked question that we get from people, which is why we use grub screws for the pins in our pedals. And the question is usually comes with why not use the ones with that you can thread in from the back that have the little heads and you can thread in from the back. So those are definitely easier to get in and out, and the grub screws can definitely have some disadvantages if you ding them real bad. They can be a little tough to get in and out. But the reason that we don't use those other pins is really simple, and it's weight. And when creating this pedal, I really wanted to balance a lot of different factors. Cost, weight, performance obviously was number one. But with the weight, and especially it being a longer pedal, so they already weigh a little over 500 grams per pedal, which isn't really noticeable on the trail, and I'll address that here in just a second. But as far as the pins go, those extra pins, or those pins, do weigh more. Now, just so you guys know that I know what I'm talking about, I actually did have a prototype pair made up at one point with the pins that screw in from the back. So you can see that they have those on both sides. And we had to reduce it from 5 to 4 pins, so we were actually losing some of our grip and traction and having to go to those pins. And the pair of pedals together weighed almost 600 grams. And so I took those pins out, and I think it was like 4 grub screws weighed the same as one of those other pins. And the main reason is these heads. These heads are pretty heavy. So again, in a perfect world, would we use those pins? Yeah, they're definitely easier to get in and out, especially if you bash them on a rock or something like that. But that extra weight, we know, is something that a lot of riders aren't. They don't want, and so we're really trying to balance a lot of different factors with that. So but anyways, with the weight, the pedals do weigh more than most pedals out there, and the extra weight is something that, because it's at the pedals, isn't something that you necessarily feel as much on the bike. Like, that's one of the things that you'll notice. People may mention, hey, the weight may cause problems, but you'll never read a review or somebody who said they could actually feel the weight affecting them. Now, I will say that when I was out on the trail with these pedals, testing them at almost 600 grams a piece, I could actually start to feel a little bit of that weight under my feet. And so again, there does seem to be that point of diminishing returns. Like, you can get a pedal that weighs too much and is too heavy, but the performance gains that you get from the Catalyst pedal more than offset the weight penalty of just the 500 grams that they are a piece. But again, to keep that weight down, so we're in that sweet spot, that's why we use the grub screws. So and again, you got the longer grub screws that come with the pedals. You need to swap them out. But yeah, so anyways, again, hopefully that answers some questions. Again, in a perfect world, we would use them. And again, when I got into the pedal business, I was warned, hey, get ready. Everybody has an opinion on pedals. Pin placement, how many there should be, where they should be, what kind of pins you use, bearings, axles, everything. And I kind of laughed about it, but lo and behold, it turns out a lot of people do have opinions about that stuff. But when you go through the process of actually creating a pedal and bringing it to market, and having to go through the process of weighing those pros and cons and things like that, you realize that it's not as easy as just checking boxes and say, oh, I want just this, and going with that, because everything has a plus and a minus to it. So you got to weigh those things. So again, that's why we don't have it thinner. It's another question. Why isn't this thinner? One, this isn't necessarily the point of this video. Maybe I'll address this deeper in another one, but there's another one where there's a point of diminishing returns, where much thinner than this, and you don't really notice it on the trail. I've ridden thinner pedals than this, and yeah, pedals that are this thick down to here, you're going to notice it. Pedals that are this thick down to here, you don't really notice it as much on the trail. You get a little bit more clearance, but now you really start to run into price, because in axles and the strength of the axle. So the strength to weight ratio, the price and all of that stuff starts to go in a different direction when you start to go much thinner than the standard kind of 16 millimeters that you find in most pedals. And so again, just balancing all of these factors, weight, price, performance, with always making sure that performance is there. I don't want to compromise that. But so anyways, hopefully this clears up a few things. If you guys got any suggestions for future videos you want me to address things in, be sure to hit me up at james@pedalinginnovations.com, and I'll be happy to do it. And I will talk to you guys next time, and get out and ride your bike.